I would just like to point out that the judge in this case is essentially trying to say that the president doesn't have the executive authority to deport foreign terrorists from our American soil. That is an egregious abuse of the bench. This judge does not have that authority. It is the opinion of this White House and of this administration, and that's why we're fighting this in court. And it's very, very clear that this is an activist judge who is trying to usurp the president's authority. Under the Alien Enemies Act, the president has this power, and that's why this deportation campaign has continued. And this judge, Judge Boasberg, is a Democrat activist. He was appointed by Barack Obama. His wife has donated more than $10,000 to Democrats, and he has consistently shown his disdain for this president and his policies, and it's unacceptable.
Right where I wanted to go about the idea that these people are all foreign terrorists, but Judge Boasberg was originally appointed by George W. Bush and then elevated by Barack Obama. I just feel like I should clear that up.
Yeah, I feel like that sort of thing probably matters. Again, all of her other points would be irrelevant even if he had been put on the bench initially by Barack Obama, but he wasn't. Now, he was elevated from his original position by Barack Obama. And so maybe like by that point, sure, George W. Bush had put him on the bench, but then he'd become like a crazy commie or something. And that's why when Obama wanted to elevate him, it was such a contentious debate in the Senate that he only got 96 votes and none against him. That's probably what it is, because he's such a Democrat activist. And so, by the way, what was her evidence that he was a Democrat activist? It was the false thing that he was initially put there by Barack Obama. That's it. His wife, Democrat activist, because she's donated to Democrats. Again, that's not what an activist is. I personally think I require more of a person than just political donations. But if that's the case, then, well, every judge has a family member that's donated money to something. Again, this is just, I understand that if you watch the show a lot, you're like, why are you even engaging with this? It's such obvious, intentional, bad faith nonsense. And I agree, but like, could we ever get a bit of consistency? Like, if do we think that Republican judges don't have family members that have donated? And what if they donated to Trump?
What about the fact that our Supreme Court has been handpicked and groomed by Republican billionaires, given lavish gifts and vacations to do their bidding? Does that matter at all? The consistency here does not exist because, again, Republicans, when it comes to the judiciary, are okay with it's okay when I do it. Oh, you're weaponizing the Justice Department, even though all of the cases that came down on Trump were from every different circuit imaginable, right? But when they want to shop for Judge Kaczmarek, who's going to destroy the ability to get a medication abortion and strike down the right to mifepristone, right? When they want to shop their cases around to the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals, where we know it's largely right-leaning, they can totally do that. When they want to handpick and buy Supreme Court justice seats, that's totally fine. But someone's wife gave a donation, like, who has been actually weaponizing the judiciary?
Yeah.
It is the right.
And look, there's some of this stuff that the right is starting to do that I'm like, okay, if you guys want to do it, then we're gonna do it too. What's good for the fascist is good for the gander.
Sure.
But then there's stuff like this where I'm like, I don't even want to do this. This is pathetic. This is so freaking pathetic and whiny, Jesus. And I just see this and I think like, Carolyn Leavitt, I apologize for your sake that we live in a country where we have freedom of effing speech, where if you are related to someone who's a judge, I'm sorry, but you still get to donate money, okay? You still get to be involved in politics. I know that bothers you so deeply that anyone who's within a country mile of somebody who a Democrat might appoint after a Republican chooses them, they should instantly just back off of politics, never post anything on social media, never speak at all. How dare you have a thought, an idea, a value, especially because in this case, it's a wife, probably a woman. How dare she have any thoughts when it comes to politics? No, Her husband has a job, so she needs to sit down and shut up to make things comfy for Carolyn Leavitt. Well, I apologize. We live in the freaking United States, okay? And you get to speak out and you get to post on social media. You shouldn't. It'll make you less happy in the long run, but you get to if you want to, okay? And you can donate money too if you want to. If you don't like that, there are countries around the world where people don't have these sorts of rights to free expression. You can go live there, Carolyn Leavitt, if this bothers you so much. And to remind everyone of something that we already talked about earlier this week, in addition to the fact that the guy was chosen by George W. Bush, who I'm old enough to remember wasn't a big progressive or anything, this same judge also ordered the Department of State to release some Clinton emails before the 2016 election and also holded that a court can't force the release of Trump's tax returns, and so appears to have in some cases sided with Donald Trump and some cases sided against him, as judges are wont to do. He also, by the way, dismissed a case against one of Trump's mega donors, Steve Wynn. And so again, by the way, he was Brett Kavanaugh's roommate in law school, which not only implies that he might be pretty conservative, but also potentially implies some other things too. And so now I'm actually kind of open to the question of impeaching him, because what did he see? What does he know about Brett Kavanaugh that he hasn't spoken out about? Maybe he should actually be impeached.
This is the other thing about
it's just nonsense, Francesca.
It's nonsense, and the idea that he's an activist, and also it kind of like it gives me Merrick Garland vibes. That Merrick Garland was already sort of a centrist nominee for the Supreme Court when Mitch McConnell tanked the ability for Barack Obama to nominate anybody in an election year. How dare you? I'm going to nominate, two people. What was it? And you realize that actually, like, there aren't Democrat activist judges. Those don't exist. There are right-wing justices and judges who are absolutely, like I mentioned, Kazmark, who are on this mission to install Christian nationalism, to allow corporations to do whatever they want. The Democrats, there's no such, they just have people who like abide by the Constitution, and that's somehow political, John, but not in the ways that the right would like. It is political because it's like, oh yeah, rule of law, can't obliterate birthright citizenship, can't deport a bunch of people using the Alien Enemies Act when we are not in a war. So that's sort of like, again, I feel like also Democrats have a tendency to lift up certain judges when, as you mentioned and give receipts for, they're kind of conservative. They're pretty right-leaning in general.
Yeah, in general. And also, okay, so if you want to bring up at least the topic of money in politics, which I guess in this one extremely narrow case is cause for concern, but never in any other cases. Okay, why is it that a family member of a judge giving money to some random politician who might or might not have even won, that means that judge immediately suspect and should be impeached? But again, not Republican judges or more conservative judges who have a family member that gave money to a Republican. Maybe should they be impeached? Of course they shouldn't. Obviously, there's no principles here. But what about like the reception of money? So all of these Republican Congress people who Elon Musk has given money to, okay, they received that money, they received that bribe. They're now trying to impeach this judge, which is a position that Elon Musk wants them to take. Elon Musk has given tons of money. Should Donald Trump be impeached? He took hundreds of millions of dollars from the richest man in the world and then gave him a position with no oversight to do anything he wants. That's only 1 trillion times more corrupt than what Carolyn Leavitt is talking about here. Yes. And you might think, well, wait, no, only judges can be corrupted by money, not politicians. Okay, well, Elon Musk is spending tons of money over in Wisconsin to get that right-wing judge.
Yes.
Okay, I guess he should be pulled from the ballot because he's receiving corrupt money. He's a conservative activist because he's receiving that money. All of this is utter BS. None of this, they're not concerned about Democratic activists or whatever. To the extent that they're concerned about anything, it's that the idea that judges still exist. They should, like the wife, sit down and shut up. The king is speaking, okay? Your input will not be required. And to the extent that it's about anything specific to this case, it's you're supposed to agree with Trump. That's it. They freak the F out if anyone, even doing their job, upholding their constitutional, ethical obligations and responsibilities, speaks out against Donald Trump, even if he's clearly breaking the law or violating the Constitution. That's the only actual problem they have here. Any final thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it's just the theory that it's okay when I do it. They don't know the word hypocrisy because it's a little too long for them. It's just, it's okay when Elon Musk wants to buy the Wisconsin Supreme Court, and everyone should get involved in that. If you're in Wisconsin, you know what to do. Same day registration to vote. So get involved, make some phone calls if you can. That is massive. We need to be following Elon's money like white on rice.
Yeah, that got funny at the end. We definitely do. A system that does not lock a guy up like this for levels of corruption beyond anything that we've seen before.
Or that it's legal, that it is even legal to do this. I mean, this is the problem with Citizens United, and this is the problem with money in politics, right? And the fact that the Democrats have not made this the crowning jewel of every single platform ever since we saw, let's be honest, Barack Obama get tanked by dark money, and his legislative proposals get tanked by dark money. Even though he won, of course, he was unable to do anything because of it. Like,
yeah,
what are we doing?
Yeah,
You gotta talk about it's the ad campaigns, it's the woke, it's no, it's the money in politics. We've known this for forever.
It's the hundreds of millions of dollars. By the way, if I was pulled over by a cop and he was gonna give me a ticket and I tried to slip him a $50 bill, does anyone doubt that I would be in severe legal trouble as a result of that?
Yes.
But the richest man in the world can spend almost $1/3 of $1 billion to buy a series of elections. And how dare you even bring that up, you uppity peasant? How dare you mention that? That's not a crime. No, if a peasant does it, then it's a crime. And this apparently does not bother, I guess, any conservatives at all. Is your deference, your surrender to the elite so thorough that you can't agree? The hypotheticals I'm talking about, it's a little bit concerning, the two different standards here. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe some conservative. If you're MAGA and you're watching this and you agree that it's effed up, that you would go to jail if you bribed a cop for $100, but the richest man in the world can spend hundreds of millions of dollars to buy politicians and it shouldn't even be discussed. Okay, but if you disagree, I will give you credit. If you voted for Trump and you agree with me that that's insane, post a message and I will give you credit.